Last Man Home. On the Sky Road. Written by John Miro. Part 3. Beside me on the stairs, Gris wrinkled the little bump on his face that worked sort of like a nose. His glasses rose and fell in the Shella version of a chuckle. If I'd known all it took to get you out here was torching that rat-trap cabin. Yeah, I grunted and matched his chuckle. Then more comfortable silence. The Sky Road was 4 days into a 6-day pleasure cruise from Earth to out past the Oort. Then we'd be far enough away from any gravity wells to make the jump to the system that held the farm planet where Callahan's folks lived, and then we'd spend another few days inbound to said planet. That left me and Gris plenty of time to sit in the dark and enjoy the stars with just our thoughts for company. No hurry to get things said between blood brothers. Both of us, of course, were racking our gov-modded noodles trying to figure out what we were going to say to Tom's parents when we got Tom there. The new Tom, that is. Like I said, it's complicated. Just about then, Gris's talkative streak finally cut back in. I love the change rooms on this boat. Think we could retrofit the chain with those little glass tiles they got here? Maybe carry the theme through the hallway between species-specific change rooms to the coffee bar. After the war, Gris sunk his family inheritance and all his back pay from his tours into starting up a chain of upscale human-style gyms, and each one was a moneymaker. I designed them for him. I was an architect before I was a bug killer, and I still liked the work. What I lacked in personal hygiene and fashion sense I apparently still had when it came to industrial design. The corners of my lips hooked up in a smile. I was already sketching how that might work in my head. Gris might be flashy, but there was a reason people threw money at his company for gym memberships. He had an eye for style, and his heart was all in on pleasing customers. At a profit, of course. Not the worst idea I ever heard, I agreed. I'll draw it up. My stomach and the corners of my lips both fell, and I snuggled the base of my neck back against the stairs. Later, I groaned. Annoying little puffs of air came out of the bump on Gris's nose. Real laughter. He could fake human laughter for press interviews or meeting with investors, but that puffing sound was the clearest proof Gris was happy. Currently at my expense. At least it was mercifully quiet. And when the laughter passed and we sat together listening to the lullaby of the Sky Road's engines under the glittering mobile of stars, he let it stay that way. A little while later, we heard a very distinct slap, scratch pattern echoing from a hallway behind the grand staircase. I swiveled my eyes towards Gris, and he looked back at me, his face mirroring the instant alarm on mine. "Guys!" Teddy wailed. We were on our feet and halfway around the stupidly huge staircase before Teddy raced out of the long hallway behind it. Teddy was close to Gris in height, but where Shalev were puffy and whitish, Kaiben, like Teddy, were lizardy and greenish. Teddy's two tails were whipping the air behind him as he skidded to a stop before us, his long-clawed hind feet scratching like nails on a chalkboard. Kaiben had the alien equivalent of a little chameleon in their ancestry, but it didn't do much good once you took them out of the forests of their native worlds. Turning green in times of stress didn't do much to camouflage anyone standing on a gleaming marble floor at the ass end of a spaceship. It sure got my adrenaline squirting again, though. Before we could ask anything about what was going on, Teddy grabbed a fistful of my shirt and Gris's vest and pulled. His eyes were huge, and his tails kept slapping his back, making a sound like a whip cracking against the hard scales there. "We were playing cards, minding our own business," he gasped. "Security didn't ask. No questions, just zapped." His eyes fixed on me. "No warning, Jake. They just took him out." "Drew?" Gris asked, but we both knew that's who Teddy meant. Teddy was tugging hard, and we let him. "Security stunned him out right in his seat at the card table beside me and dragged him away." Where'd they take him?" I growled as we broke into a run and followed our lizard alien buddy back the way he'd come. All of us had become instant famous since the moment we'd stepped on this ship. The story of what had happened back on Earth when Tom 2.0 crashed our little reunion was just now blowing up on the networks, and it was getting even weirder than any of us had thought. I didn't think that was possible, that it could get any weirder than my Sammy mercenary pal mentally glitching back to war mode after catching sight of a spiky blue Elotan towering over me. But oh, it could. See, I'd forgotten about politics. I'd forgotten about what people did when they got scared. It turned out that our new Elotan buddy had gotten through Earth border security on a fluke, and nobody in the hallowed halls of power had clue number one that an international incident was about to burn up out in the boonies. Cut to a couple of days later, and I was sure that the laboratory boys from the war were going to show up in full hazmat suits and scoop Tom away. Gris had splashed what I guessed had to be some serious cash to make the official record of our peacetime firefight with illegal beam weapons disappear, and stupidly I thought we were going to avoid the long arm of the law. I was starting to remember what I knew about politics. I was starting to fear just how bad people could act when they got scared. And in the back of my head, I was terrified about what Drew would do when he woke up in a jail cell. I had to get there first. I don't care what he did. We were brothers in arms, brothers in blood, family, and no one messes with my family. Last Man Home. On the Sky Road. Written and recorded by John Miro. Stay tuned. Part 4 coming soon.